Let's save the Pac-12, shall we? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Best discussion, debate, and analysis because of your contribution. Let's get to it. Understanding that talks have broken down between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 in recent weeks, and this certainly hurts the Pac-12 from a football standpoint much more than the Big 12. The Big 12 is, from a quantity standpoint, secure. The league is not going away. Now, in regards to the argument about Power 5 or upper tier status with the SEC and the Big 10, certainly check out the videos that we provided in recent weeks in which we've attacked this expansion and realignment issue across college football. Check out all the videos about the Big 10, Notre Dame, Pac-12 candidates, the Big 12, and stabilizing the Big 12 further, and ACC candidates to the Big 10 and the SEC. All right, let's get to the Pac-12 candidates because I see absolutely no Power 5 candidates for the Pac-12. There are going to be no teams that I can foresee in the Big 12 that are going to leave the Big 12 for the Pac-12. The cultural difference between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 in regards to the Pac-12 not accepting those universities, those academic programs, those cultures into the Pac-12, and also those Big 12 teams have no reason to leave a secure Big 12 and go to the Pac-12 where their football future at a high level is very much in jeopardy, especially with Oregon and Washington looking elsewhere. And check out, again, our Big 12 video that we posted just here in the last few days looking at those Pac-12 candidates. All right, let's get to the group of 5 candidates that could fortify, stabilize, help the Pac-12 continue to play near Power 5 football, but that's debatable even with some of these additions. Let's get to the candidates in no particular order because we will do that at the end. We've got the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. 54-68 football team over the past 10 seasons. So it's been mostly down for the Golden Hurricane, but when they've been good, they've been pretty darn good. They won Conference USA in 2012. They lost the conference championship game in the American to Cincinnati in 2019. They are 3-2 in bowl games. And however, Tulsa, with the 137th ranking in academic standing, the 58th largest market, TV market in America, number 58. So the market size is notable. We're listing it here, but it has to be taken into context because most of the time these are either schools that are playing in NFL cities or they're playing in areas that are closely attached to Power 5 powerhouses, like in the case of Tulsa with Oklahoma nearby. Tulsa just not drawing it. 18,000 plus per game. This is a 2019 figure. Could not gain the 2021 attendance figures. Couldn't find those online. And then also consider the 2020. Those statistics are very much marred, and there weren't fans at the ball game for the most part. So we go back to 2019 and then see that Tulsa ranked 101st in the nation in attendance at below 19,000 per game. Now let's move on to another candidate for the Pac-12 via the American Conference, and that would be SMU. They're under 500 in the past 10 years, despite playing some really good football the past 3 seasons under Sonny Dykes, who now coaches at TCU. 25-10 for SMU the past 3 football seasons, just 57-64 for the past 10 years. So they were pretty bad at 32-54 before that. In the Dallas-Fort Worth market, number 5 in the nation. But again, the Dallas Cowboys rule that area. And then if anybody's watching college football in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's TCU, it's Texas, Texas A&M, Baylor, Texas Tech. You know, there's just a myriad of schools that rank ahead of SMU in terms of drawing in a TV audience in the state of Texas. SMU, in regards to attendance at the football game locally, 91st in the nation in 2019 at 21,000 folks per ball game. SMU is 1-2 in bowl games, only appearing in 3 bowl games in the past 10 seasons, and the SMU academic ranking is a pretty stout number 68. Now let's go to the Mountain West, where most of the candidates lie, and a really intriguing one here in the Aztecs of San Diego State, playing, of course, in an former NFL market. They've lost their NFL team, so that could help the bid for the Pac-12 there. San Diego State is a solid football program, typically ranking near the top 25 of the nation. In fact, San Diego State has posted 2 top 25 seasons in the past 10 years, and look at that stellar record, 89-39, and that's through the coaching tenures of a number of coaches. So that's a good sign too, where the winning record is not attached necessarily to one particular coach who does a bang-up job and then moves on to the Power 5, but San Diego State has proven through the years that they can win. They've won 3 Mountain West Conference championships in the past 10 years. Their average attendance is 65th in the nation at about 34,000 per ball game, so that's pretty good again. And those seasons were played with an NFL team in town. 5-4 in bowl games for San Diego State, in the 28th rated market in the country, and a top 150 academic ranking for San Diego State. Not necessarily a good draw for the Pac-12 considering the likes of the schools that play in the Pac-12, but not too bad. We move on to Fresno State. Very much from a football standpoint, a similar candidate to San Diego State at 69-54. Fresno State had horrible seasons in 2015 and 16, which really brought down this record because the Bulldogs are typically one of the top group of 5 programs. 3 conference championships in the past 10 years, 3-3 in bowl games. Now you see from a television/attendance standpoint, 74th in the nation at 30,000 plus per game in 2019. And again, these statistics in terms of attendance could fluctuate from year to year, and they do to a certain extent, but a full 2019 season gives us a pretty good indication. San Francisco and Sacramento TV markets are close by, but in regards to who would be fully engaged, you would think, in Fresno State football would be the Fresno market at number 54 in the country, and the academic ranking is decent at number 213, but probably not up to Pac-12 standards across the board. Now let's stay in the Mountain West for another good candidate here in Boise State. I don't know that it can be properly communicated and given enough recognition and credit what the Boise State program has done in football in the past 20 to 25 years. First under Houston Nutt, Dan Hawkins, Chris Peterson, of course, and others. The Boise State football program has been remarkable, most notably and most recently under Brian Harsin, now at Auburn. This has been the one program in the group of 5 over the past 25 years. Recent candidates would be Houston, UCF, of course, under Scott Frost. Right now, Luke Fickell in Cincinnati. Those are the other teams in the group of 5 that have jumped up. But over the long haul and the very first to get there, Boise State. We all remember all the games that Boise State would schedule in the non-conference and meet teams like Virginia Tech and Oregon and Georgia and win the ball games and be competitive on a regular basis. Boise State's program has been phenomenal. Look at that record, 95-31, and kind of down the past couple of years, actually. 7-5 this past season, but a sterling record. 5 top 25 finishes. Nobody in the group of 5 comes near that in the past 10 years. 4 conference championships. The attendance, good, right there with Fresno State and San Diego State at just a shade under 33,000 in 2019. 4-3 in bowl games. Mostly playing in the Las Vegas Bowl as the number 1 rep for the Mountain West, and number 101 in the TV market at Boise, but the academic ranking not good for Boise State at around 300. We stay in the Mountain West with a unique candidate in Air Force. The pluses are huge. The minuses are there as well. We start with the minuses in regards to this is a military academy, so only 1 of 3 playing big-time college football. The Falcons have been really good, but on the downside, we understand it, don't know a whole lot about it, just in dealing with the government. It's a military academy. They have other priorities that are much more important than football. And so bureaucracy, red tape, conditions that have to be met to have a military school within the conference. Obviously, it's existed for a long, long time. Navy's in the American Conference. And of course, Air Force has been in the Mountain West and in other conferences throughout its history, so it must not be too big of a deal, but just a condition there. On the plus side, the prestige that a military academy brings to a conference, I don't know that it can be really communicated. So those are the pluses and minuses, and on the football field, Air Force is typically competitive. 70-51 in the last 10 years with one top 25 finish under our buddy Troy Calhoun, who's appeared here at the Voice of College Football a few times. Colorado Springs TV markets at number 88. You would expect most of those football fans to be Denver Broncos fans. 28,000 per game in 2019. That ranks in the top 80 in the nation, and the Falcons have gone 4-2 in bowl games. Most notably recently taking on a 10-2 Washington State team and taking them down to the wire a couple of years ago. And a win against Louisville. Now we talk about a unique candidate. We go out to Sin City. And this football program and this academic institution in no way belongs in this discussion. But there's a unique quality to the location of Las Vegas, of course, and UNLV. The Rebels are awful in football. 33-84 the past 10 seasons. Nobody goes to the games. They're number 107 in 130 FBS schools in 2019 in average attendance at less than 18,000 per game. They haven't even gone to a bowl game in the past 10 seasons. They're awful, but it's in Las Vegas. So there's a certain cachet. There's a certain potential there. The 40th rated market in the country. There's larger markets here represented, and certainly within this range. So it's not about the television market. It's more about the destination. And if the Pac-12 in some way could turn UNLV and its location and find something there to draw people to the games and make something of UNLV, it's just a bit of a wild card there. I would not necessarily touch UNLV to the Pac-12, but I think it's worth investigating. Look at reviewing. Not a great school, horrible football program, but they're in Vegas. Now let's look at the list of 1 through 7 when we put it all together. Best candidate, San Diego State. You get the TV market at top 30 in the nation. Now without an NFL team, this program has won despite the head coach. We review the record. They are consistently they beat Pac-12 teams on a regular basis. At number 2, we got Fresno State. Talking about being in the thorn in the side of the Pac-12, that would be Fresno State. They just came off a win against UCLA this past season. And Fresno State, though, right there with San Diego State. And those are tough to separate. I would Pac-12, add both of them. Those would be the two candidates for me right out of the gate. San Diego State, Fresno State. I've mentioned it many times here since all this blew up with USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Get Fresno State, get San Diego State. Let's look at the rest of the list. SMU with a nudge over Boise State, basically because of TV market and also just a much better school as we take the academic consideration into it. But Boise State, if we're just talking football, then Boise State's your choice. If that's all it is, football, and you don't care who shows up to the games, how many people watch on TV, or the academic situation, which the Pac-12 does care about. We don't know if we're going to be adding these institutions to Cal and Stanford, or they're going to be gone to the Big Ten possibly. But we got Boise State at number 4. Air Force at 5. We talked the pluses and minuses there. Tulsa, this is really a wild card on down the list, and we're talking about a long shot in Tulsa. And then, of course, we threw in the Running Rebels of UNLV right here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, even if you don't agree with my suggestions here or my content in general. Best discussion, debate, and analysis of college football you're going to find anywhere because of your contribution. Join our call-in shows, typically Monday at noon, Thursday at 6, Friday at 9 Eastern Time. Give me a call. Let's talk college football, and we'll see you next time.